My beloved child, I have not called you merely to be comforted for a moment and then return unchanged to the old familiar paths. I have not only wiped away your tears so that you may go on living as though your soul were born only for ordinary days. I have touched you, healed the places that were fractured, and whispered into the deepest part of your heart that you belong to me. But, my child, my love does not stop at the first doorway. I am opening before you a wider, deeper, holier path, where you will no longer stand outside, listening to others speak of me, but you yourself will enter in and taste that I am good. For it is written, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him." Psalm 34:8. You have heard of my faithfulness through sermons, through stories, through the testimonies of many who walked before you. But now, I want your own life to become a living testimony, so that when you look back, you may say with all your heart, "He never abandoned me. He kept me through every step of the way." There are walls you have built around your heart, not because you do not love me, but because you have once been hurt. There are limits you have placed upon yourself, not because you do not want to go farther, but because you fear that if you hope too much, you will be disappointed again. I understand these things. My beloved child, I do not see your caution as a contemptible sin, nor do I regard your old wounds as something that separates you from me. I look upon them with the eyes of a father, eyes that know how hard you have struggled to reach this day. But I also do not want you to live forever in the small room of self-protection. A heart guarded by fear is never truly free. A soul that dares to believe only within the boundaries of safety will never fully feel the vastness of grace. Therefore, I am gently knocking on the places you have kept closed, not to force you, but to invite you to open them so that light may enter. Do you remember Peter in the dark night upon the sea? When the disciples were in the midst of the storm, they saw the Lord Jesus walking on the water toward them. Peter said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And the Lord spoke one very simple word, "Come," Matthew 14:28-29. Do you see? That invitation did not immediately erase the strong wind, nor did it turn the surface of the sea into dry ground. But right in the middle of uncertainty, Peter was called to step out of the familiar boat, though afterward he became afraid and began to sink. The Lord's hand immediately reached out and caught him. My beloved child, I do not tell you that story so you will remember only Peter's weakness, but so you will understand that walking with me does not mean you will never tremble. Walking with me means that when your heart grows faint, my hand is still closer than the waves rising around you. Therefore, do not wait until you are completely strong before you begin to obey my voice. Do not wait until every doubt has disappeared, every question has been answered, and every road has become clear before you set your foot down. Many times, faith is not seeing the whole journey, but hearing my voice in the mist and still saying, "Father, I trust you. My word is declared, for we walk by faith, not by sight." 2 Corinthians 5:7. You often want certainty before you surrender. But I am teaching you another kind of certainty, a certainty that does not rest in circumstances, but in the one who is holding your hand. The road may still be long. The sky may still be dark. Your heart may still be trembling, but if your hand is in mine, you are not lost. Look at a child learning to walk, and you will understand my heart toward you. That child is not condemned because the first steps are clumsy. The parents do not turn away simply because the child falls. On the contrary, each time the child staggers, loving arms open wide, each time the child falls. Words of encouragement lift the child up again. I am the same toward you. I do not demand that you become complete in a single day, nor do I place upon your shoulders the burden of false perfection. I rejoice when I see you dare to stand up, dare to try again, dare to trust a little more, dare to give me a part of your heart that you once held tightly. It is written, "The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him." Psalm 37:23. Your steps may not yet be steady, but I can establish them. You may not yet know where you are going, but I know where I am leading you. What I desire from you is not a life that never stumbles, but a heart that always turns back to me. The righteous person is not one who has never been weak, but one who is lifted up by grace after every fall. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. Do not let one failure make you conclude that you are unworthy to continue. Do not let the mud on your garments cause you to forget that you are still my child. I do not love you less on the day you are weary. I do not withdraw my promise simply because you tremble. I am a patient Father, the one who knows you were formed from dust, the one who remembers that you need to be guided day by day, not judged breath by breath. There will come a time when I lead you out of the place you once called safe, not because I want to frighten you, but because I know the old boat cannot contain all that I have prepared for you. There are blessings that are discovered only beyond familiar territory. There are depths of me that are known only when you no longer rely on your ability to control. When you release the small things you have tried so hard to hold, you will realize that my hand has never let go of you. When you dare to step through the door you once feared, you will see that I had gone before you long ago. I will go before you and level the mountains. Isaiah 45:2. You do not need to break down every high mountain by yourself. You only need to follow me with a soft and obedient heart. I know you have often wondered whether you have enough strength, but my child, the deeper question is not whether you have enough strength, but whether you will allow my strength to sustain you. Your own strength has limits, but my grace does not run dry. Your wisdom may become confused, but my light does not grow dim. Your courage may rise and fall, but my presence remains as steadfast as the everlasting mountains. For I myself have said, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Therefore, do not despise the weak places within you. If you surrender them to me, they can become the very places where my power shines most tenderly. Today, I am not calling you to run quickly, nor am I forcing you to understand everything at once. I am simply calling you to come closer. Closer in prayer, closer in listening, closer in the small decisions of each day, closer in the way you believe that I truly am good to you. The relationship I desire with you is not a distant idea, nor a few religious words resting quietly on a page. I want to enter every breath you take, every morning you wake, every evening you lay your head down, every quiet choice no one sees. I want you to know that I am not only the one seated upon the high throne, but also the Father who bends down to take your hand as you learn to walk upon the earth. So come, my beloved child, leave the land of fear, the room of old limitations, and the voice that once told you that you could only go so far. I am leading you into a new season, not a season of display, but a season of holy intimacy. There, you will not only say that I am faithful, you will see that faithfulness lift you up, make a way for you, heal you, and establish your steps. Place your hand in mine. Though the first step is still small, I rejoice. Though your heart still trembles, I am near. Though you do not know what tomorrow will be, I know, and I am walking with you. Remember this word like a lamp in the night. I do not lead you out farther in order to abandon you, but I lead you deeper so that you may discover that in me, you always have a home, a way, a light, and a love that will never perish. My beloved child, as the new day of grace begins to shine within you, do not be surprised if the places you thought had fallen asleep suddenly begin to stir awake. There are rooms in your heart that have been closed for too long, covered with dust by memories, locked by fear, and you have grown accustomed to living as though they no longer exist. But my light does not come like an intruder. It comes like the gentle hand of a father, opening each door with love, not to shame you, but to set you free. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. As it is written in John 9:5, and you must remember this, darkness may remain for a long time, but it has no right to rule forever once I have spoken light into it. The things that appear before your eyes are not meant to condemn you, nor to remind you that you have failed, but so I may show you where you still need to be touched, where you are still hurting, and where you have grown weary from pretending to be strong. At times, you will see within your heart an old wound that you tried to bury deeply with busyness, with smiles, with the words "I'm fine" spoken to the world. At times, you will recognize a dream that was once as pure as a flowing stream, but that you set down along the road because of disappointment, criticism, or because you were afraid to hope again. There will also be times when the light reveals an unnamed fear that has silently controlled the way you love, the way you choose, the way you pray, and even the way you see yourself. My child, in that hour, do not turn away. Do not rush to pull the curtain closed again. Do not see your confusion as a sign that you are moving backward. Many times, the first confusion is the sound of dry ground cracking open to receive the rain. Many times, the first trembling is the soul beginning to realize that it no longer has to hide from me. I want you to imagine your heart as a garden that I have loved from the beginning. In that garden, there are beds of soil that have already borne flowers, branches that have endured the wind and still risen upward, and seeds growing quietly, even though you have not yet seen them. But there are also hidden corners that have not been tended, where the soil has become hardened through seasons without water, where the weeds of bitterness have grown silently, where the roots of self-blame, shame, and doubt have sunk deep into the ground. I am not the father who merely passes by to admire the beautiful flowers and then abandon the ruined places. I am the holy gardener, and my love does not stop at the sight of outward freshness. I step into the messy places, the places that make you ashamed, the places you do not want anyone to touch, because it is precisely there that I want to sow life again. You have many times asked me to give you a new season, but do you understand? A new season does not begin only with flowers blooming. Many times, it begins with the plow cutting through hardened soil. You have prayed for peace, but true peace sometimes must pass through the truth you have been avoiding. You have asked to be healed, but healing is not covering an infected wound with a beautiful cloth. Healing is allowing me to cleanse it, anoint it, bind it up, and, if necessary, remove from you the thorns that have been lodged there for too long. My word says in Hebrews 4:12 that the word of God is living and active, sharp enough to divide even the deepest places, but do not fear that sharpness. For in my hand, the blade is not meant to destroy you, but to free you from the things that have been silently causing you pain. Remember the story of Naaman, the great commander of Syria, a man who carried honor, power, and victories upon his shoulders. Yet beneath his splendid garments bore leprosy he could not hide from himself. He expected healing to come in a grand manner, through a magnificent ceremony. with the prophet acting in a glorious way. But I led him to the Jordan River and told him to dip himself 7 times in a stream so ordinary that he nearly refused. My beloved child, many times you are the same. You want healing to come in a radiant, quick, pleasant form that does not touch your pride, does not require humility, and does not make you face what you have hidden. But look at Naaman when he agreed to bow down, to step into the simple waters of obedience. His flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child. Therefore, do not despise the small steps I am inviting you to take. 1 honest confession, 1 tear of repentance, 1 act of forgiveness, 1 moment of ceasing to condemn yourself. 1 opening of your heart before me can become the Jordan River where the miracle begins. I do not require you to make yourself clean before you come near to me, nor do I stand far away, waiting for you to become perfect before I love you. When you were wounded by the words of others, I heard. When you were forgotten in moments when you should have been supported, I saw. When you blamed yourself so deeply that you no longer dared to lift your face, I was closer to you than your breath. Psalm 18 says that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. My child, I am not disgusted by your brokenness. What grieves my heart is not that you have wounds, but that you keep holding those wounds alone in the darkness, while my arms have been open to you for a long time. There are parts of you that have become hard because they have had to protect themselves for too long. You think you are strong, but in truth, you are tired. You think you are cold, but in truth, you are afraid of having an old pain touched. You think you no longer need anyone, but in truth, your heart still longs to be held by a love that does not run away when it sees the unfinished places. I know it all, and I do not blame you. I only invite you to lay down the thorn fences you have built around your soul. I want the tears of truth to soak into the dry ground within you. Not so you may sink into sorrow, but so that soil may become soft again, and the seed I have planted may begin to sprout. Tears before me are not failure, many times. They are the first rain of restoration. Therefore, allow me to be the master gardener of your life, not only in the places you are proud of, but also in the places where you still feel ashamed. Let me pull out the root of bitterness before it chokes your joy. Let me prune the dry branches of resentment, for every branch that is pruned in me will bear more fruit. As Jesus said in John 15:2, let me dig deeper than the surface layer, where you often decorate yourself with the appearance of being fine, so I may touch the true soil of your soul. My work may make you uncomfortable for a season, but it is never meant to cause you to lose what belongs to life. What I remove is what has been suffocating you. What I turn up is so I may sow new seeds. What I bring into the light is so it may no longer rule over you in darkness. My beloved child, today you no longer need to run from the light. Stand still in my presence like a child standing before a father, without needing to defend yourself, without needing to hide, without needing to prove anything. I will not turn my face away from you. I did not abandon you on the day you were weak, and today I will surely not abandon you on the day your healing begins. Open the deepest door of your heart to me, little by little if you must, for I am more patient than your fear and gentler than your painful memories. Then you will see that where there was once wasteland, a green garden will rise. Where there were once thorns, flowers of peace will bloom. Where there was once darkness, there will be a testimony of light. I am your Father, the one who began a good work in you, and I will bring that work to completion until the day of glory. You only need to remain in my hands, letting my love do what your own strength could never do. Turn dry and barren ground into a garden of grace. My beloved child, There are wounds that not only hurt your heart, but also silently make you forget who you are. There are words that people once threw at you like cold stones, seeming to pass by and disappear, yet clinging to your memory like dust upon a precious mirror. They may have called you a failure, someone not good enough, a child left behind, a soul too weak to rise. But my child, I do not call you by those names. I call you my beloved child, one who is chosen, found, washed clean, lifted up, and placed into the light. My word has declared, I have called you by name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Let that sentence soak into the deepest place within you. For true restoration does not begin when others recognize you, but when you begin to believe again what I have spoken over you. I know that before, you looked at life through the mist of pain. One criticism could make you tremble. One closed door could make you think you were unworthy. One delay could be enough to make you doubt, my love. But today, I am placing new eyes within you, not eyes that are blind to reality, but eyes healed enough to see grace even in the midst of what is still imperfect. When the soul is restored, you will no longer see only the ashes of what was lost. You will begin to recognize the green shoots quietly rising beneath ground that seemed dry and barren. For I am the one who has said, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. That new thing does not always come with loud rejoicing. Many times, it comes in quiet peace. In a morning, when you wake and feel that your heart is a little lighter than it was yesterday, you no longer need to live like someone who must prove you are worthy of being loved. My love is not a reward for the perfect, but the source of life for the child who knows how to return. Before you could do anything great, I had already woven you into my purpose. Before people praised or rejected you, I had already placed upon you a value that no one has the right to take away. Remember what is written, we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, Ephesians 2:10. You are not the product of criticism, not the sum of your stumbles, and not the shadow of those who once wounded you. You are my workmanship, and what I have created cannot be defined by hands that do not understand the intention of the Creator. Long ago, when Jacob wrestled through the night at the brook of Jabbok, he carried with him a whole life of fear, scheming, running, and shame. The name Jacob recalled one who grasped the heel, a person always trying to seize blessing by his own strength. But in that night, after he was touched in the place of his natural strength, I gave him a new name, Israel. He did not walk out of the darkness as someone who had never been wounded, but he walked out with a new identity. The limp in his body was not a sign of failure, but a testimony that he had encountered me and no longer lived according to his old name. My beloved child, sometimes I do not immediately erase every trace of the past, but I transform those traces into evidence that you have been changed. What once made you ashamed can become the place where my grace shines. What once made you think you had been rejected can become the very place where I place the mark of my choosing. Therefore, when old memories return and try to call you by names that have died, do not answer them anymore. When shame knocks at the door, let my word rise up within your heart. When comparison whispers that someone else is better, faster, brighter, remember that every flower blooms in the season I appoint, and no flower needs to envy the light given to another. You do not need to borrow anyone else's journey to prove your worth. I have placed within you a calling of your own, a rhythm of your own, a beauty of your own. As the body has many members, and each member has a different function, you also have your part in my plan. When you know that you belong to me, you will no longer be tossed about by the noise of rivalry, but will stand firm in holy peace. My restoration does not only wipe away your tears, it teaches you to see your tears with a new meaning. Before, you looked upon the painful years as waste, but I can turn them into fertile soil for wisdom. Before, you looked at closed doors as rejection, but I can use them to protect you from places that do not belong to you. Before, you saw waiting as punishment, but I can turn it into a holy room where your heart matures. All things work together for good for those who love God, Romans 8. Arshir. This does not mean that everything that happens is easy to understand, but it means that nothing, when placed in my hands, is left abandoned in meaninglessness. I am the one who can take ashes and raise up beauty, take mourning and weave it into a song, take broken pieces and create a vessel that holds precious oil. From now on, learn to look at small things with gratitude, a breath of peace, a sincere friend, a quiet afternoon, a short prayer, an opportunity that seems ordinary. All of these can be my fingerprints upon your life. When your eyes are healed, you will see that I am present not only in great miracles, but also in daily bread, in the morning dew, in the strength that is enough for today. You will no longer need every circumstance to be perfect before you dare to hope. You will learn to hope even in a room that is still dark, because you know that I am the light that darkness cannot swallow. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Hold fast to that word like a lamp within your chest, so that even when circumstances have not yet changed, your heart has already begun to change. When the way you see changes, your steps will also change. A person who sees himself as abandoned will live in fear, but a person who knows he is loved will have courage to continue. A person who believes she is a failure will avoid opportunities, but a person who knows she was created by me will dare to open her heart to tomorrow. A person who looks only at the past will be chained to what has already happened, but a person who looks with hope will realize that the future still has a calling. I am not telling you to deny the pain that once existed. I simply do not want you to build your home in the cemetery of yesterday. You can remember without being bound. You can tell the story without bleeding. You can move forward without needing to carry every old burden on your shoulders. My beloved child, let me remove from you every false label the world has placed upon your soul. Let me wash away the words of condemnation, the looks that made you feel small, the sentences that caused you to doubt yourself. I am not restoring you so that you may return exactly as you were before you were wounded. I am restoring you so that you may become deeper, gentler, stronger, and brighter in the truth. Just as Peter, after denying his master 3 times, thought he was no longer worthy. Yet the risen Christ did not call him by his failure. He asked, "Do you love me?" and then entrusted his sheep to his care. Do you see? Grace does not only forgive, grace also restores the mission. What you once stumbled over does not necessarily end your calling when it is healed. It can make you able to lift others with truer mercy. Therefore, lift up your face in humility and peace. Do not fear the old name anymore, for I have written a new name over your life. Do not let darkness convince you that light is only for others. Do not let dry seasons make you forget that I am still the one who causes streams to flow in the wilderness. Walk as one who knows you belong to me, not arrogantly, not boastfully, but firmly in unshakable love. When you see a trial, ask me what I want to teach you. When you see a small beginning, believe that I can make it grow in its proper season. When you see a place that once caused you pain, remember that my power can turn that place into an altar of healing. You are no longer a prisoner of what happened. You are a witness of what I am doing. And I, your Father, the one who calls the stars by name, also call you by your true name, loved, redeemed, restored, and led into a new life overflowing with hope.